In today's video, I'm going to review the VFR departure procedures from Oshkosh during the AirVenture Air Show as published in the 2024 Oshkosh Notice or NOTAM. Hi, my name is Heather Monthie. I am a flight instructor and I create aviation educational content on this YouTube channel. And in today's video, we're going to go over the VFR departure procedures from Oshkosh. So I get this question a ton in Oshkosh. When I'm there, I get a lot of questions about the VFR departure procedures, presumably because people get in and then they have questions about actually how to get out. If you are interested, I do have a video on the VFR arrival procedures into Oshkosh reviewing this NOTAM. So I will link to that in the description. You can check that video out. But on the VFR departure procedures, when you pull up the Oshkosh NOTAM, I've got a link to it in the description for you. The VFR departure procedures start on page 15 of the notice. So the first thing is that pilots are urged to obtain a complete weather briefing and review all applicable NOTAMs prior to departure. So you can either call via phone or you can use 1-800-WX brief for your briefing. You should and you must place a sign in your windshield with the letters VFR to show ground personnel that you intend to depart VFR. This is one that I made using just Google Documents. It's like 300 font. This is the one that I used in my arrival procedures video. If you are departing VFR, obviously you want this to say VFR. Make sure you bring a Sharpie pen with you because if you forget this or you lose it while you're having fun in Oshkosh, that you can create a new one. So you may want to make sure that it is in bright, bold letters so that the people on the ground can see it. If you just take a ballpoint pen and write VFR on it, nobody can see that unless they're 5 feet in front of your airplane. So make sure that everybody, can see bold. It's big. Like I said, I just created mine in Google Docs. I think it's like 291 font. The first thing you're going to do then is you're going to monitor the departure ATIS, which is 121.75 prior to engine start. You're not going to start the engine, do all your checks, and then grab your ATIS. So there's no engine operation or aircraft movement until the departure ATIS indicates the airport is open. So you want to make sure to review the NOTAM in full. There is documentation in the NOTAM about when the airport is open, when it is closed. There are times that the airport is closed during the day, obviously for during the air show. There are other TFRs in place as well. So you want to make sure that you review all of that. So you're going to monitor departure ATIS 121.75 before you even start your engine. And if the airport is IFR, if that beacon's on, it's IFR, all taxiing is prohibited except for aircraft with an IFR clearance. So if you are VFR, you do not have an IFR clearance, you should not have your engine on, you should not be taxiing, okay? And so what you're going to do after you have monitored ATIS, the airport is VFR, you're going to taxi toward the designated runway without contacting ground control. And then there will be EAA flag people on the ground directing traffic. So you might get directed to a different runway than you had previously expected. So just make sure that when you are doing your own departure planning, that you understand both runways, where they are, where the different locations are on the different runways. When you are on the ground, you will see FAA controllers. They're wearing bright pink shirts. They are stationed on elevated platforms near those runway departure points. And so they're pretty easy to pick out. It's bright pink. It's very easy to see. You're going to monitor their radio frequency that is listed on page 16. So if we go down here to page 16, there are different frequencies based on which runway you are going to depart from. So runway 9's got 128.75, etc. So you can read down here, make sure you have this available in the plane as you're taxiing because, like I said earlier, the NOTAM does indicate that you might be directed to a different runway than you had previously expected. So you're going to monitor their radio frequency. And then after takeoff, so whichever runway you take off, you are going to fly a specific route depending on your departure runway, okay? And so it's very important to note two things here, that you must avoid the Ripon Fisk arrival route and the AirVenture seaplane base. I'll show you that in a second. And then runway 36 left departures must turn right to a heading 150 prior to ATC Tower That is to avoid you crossing over runway 927. And so I'll go over that in just a second. And then Milwaukee approach is not going to provide you VFR traffic advisories within 70 nautical of Oshkosh. Presumably that's based on workload. So do not take off and then contact Milwaukee approach. Now, we got a couple notes here. This is very important to note. So a waiver has been issued to reduce arrival and departure separation standards, primarily for single engine and light twin engine aircraft. So you're going to see those separation standards probably reduced just because of the amount of traffic. They do have a waiver to be able to do that. There is another waiver that has been issued that amends lineup and wait procedures. So basically what that means is that more than one aircraft can be instructed to line up and wait on both sides of the runway center line. So just because you've been cleared for runway 36 left doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be lining up on the runway center line. You might be on the left side of the runway or the right side of the runway. So that waiver does allow for more than one aircraft to line up and wait. So we come down here to page 16. We've got some different departure procedures here. Again, you've got the different frequencies here, and then these are the different departure procedures. So this down here, if you go back and watch my VFR arrival procedures video, you'll see here that, this is the Fisk arrival area. If you fly into Oshkosh, you're going to be very familiar with that particular area. But basically, you want to understand the different departure procedures based on the runway. So again, you might be preparing for a runway 27 departure, but then you might get directed to runway 36 left. Okay, so you got to be prepared for all of these different scenarios. So on a runway 27 departure, you are going to fly heading 270 through 360 at or below 1300 MSL until clear of the Class Delta airspace. And we've got a note here that the Class Delta is from the surface to 3300 MSL within 4.7 nautical of Oshkosh. So if you have to stay below the 1300 MSL, you're going to stay below that until you're, at least 4.7 nautical outside of Oshkosh. So you're going to fly this heading 270 to 360 somewhere in here at or below 1300 MSL. Okay. And then if you're doing a runway 9 departure, you are going to fly a heading of 040 through 090 until clear of the Class Delta. So we've got 040, 090 somewhere in here until clear of the Class Delta. There is no altitude limitation here, where it's what we see on 27. There is that 1300 foot altitude limitation. And then if we come down here to runway 36 departure, so if we are on runway 36 right here, you'll notice that the requirement is to turn right heading 150. So we got a 150 heading prior to the ATC tower. Stay at or below 1300 MSL until clear of the Class Delta. So you're going to turn to a heading of 150, and you're going to turn before you hit that ATC tower. There is a blue dot there as well, but you want to make sure that you turn. That's going to keep you clear of runway 927, all the activity that's happening on runway 927. Okay. And so again, we've got that altitude limitation of 1300. You also want to make sure that you avoid this seaplane base. There's a lot of traffic in and out of here. So if you maintain that heading 150, that should keep you clear from that traffic at the seaplane base. Then for a runway 18 left departure, you're going to take off and then you're going to fly a heading of 150, same thing, at or below 1300 MSL until clear of that Class Delta airspace. And then finally, we've got the runway 18 right departure. We're going to fly heading 180 at or below 1300 MSL until clear of the Class Delta. So you're just going to do a straight out departure. There is a note here that you should not depart runway 1331 or 523. They are closed. There's aircraft being stationed on those runways. So you want to make sure that you're not going to take off or land on those runways. So when you are departing, when you come into land, you're told, you've got the purple dot, yellow dot, pink dot, blue dot, right? So right here, we've got the blue dot is lined up right with that ATC tower. So when you're taking off, make sure you turn out prior to that blue dot or that ATC tower, okay? So when you are departing, make sure that you read through the airport diagram so you know all of the taxiway intersections. So if you're being directed to Bravo 1, Bravo 2, etc., that you know where they are. Down here for runway 36, you might be brought into Pop 5. So you want to make sure that you know where those different um, taxiway intersections are. Okay. So those are the VFR departure procedures from Oshkosh during the air show as published in the 2024 NOTAM. So as I've stated in my other videos, I've got other videos related to this NOTAM, that you are the pilot in command. You have the final authority over your flight. I create these videos as a way to help you feel a little bit more confident as you're coming in and leaving Oshkosh, that you've got some guidance on how to read the NOTAM. Things can change. It's June 6th right now. Things can change between now and when you fly into Oshkosh. So you want to make sure that you're using the most current NOTAM, that you're getting all of your briefings, that you're doing all of the pre-flight planning that is needed for you to be successful to depart Oshkosh. So if you find this video helpful, please like my channel, subscribe, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and maybe share this video with somebody who you think might find it helpful. And I will see you in the next video.